Here we are in the shop. A couple straggler coyotes coming in. This one was shot here. Let's take a look. Big old hole there. So we'll skin that one today and then sew it up. Here's a couple other ones that just showed up. Skinned them the other day. Here's a black wolf. I'm not sure if you guys seen that before, but it's nice. I think I'll get that one tanned up. Then here's a coyote I just fleshed here the other day and threw it in the freezer. Had a small hole, well, smaller hole, about like that, and then fleshing them, or not fleshing them, skinning them. I tore them in just about in half. So we will do a little sewing video today. So we'll get this guy fleshed up the best we can, and then we'll look at how I set things up to align everything and get it skinned. And we'll do that guy over there and sew him up, and we'll look at befores and afters. So just working into it a bit more here. Here's a bite mark, and there's more bite marks. So they're fighting each other for females. And then here, kind of worked it. I just pushed it off the edge, and what I'll do is move this up here and then work it around. So you can see it's a big gaping hole. See if I can spin this around here. It's just about all the way around, probably 6 inches of hide left. So here's another bite mark on the other side, and this is where the original damage was, and this is where I tore it from about here around. So just keep working the edge around, and I'll show you what it looks like after. And yeah, lots of fun. Here I got it all cleaned up. So this is where it's tore. That's that hole we looked at before. And this is all that's really good leather there. So just about went all the way around. Sometimes when it pops or has a hole, it just rips, and it's seconds you got to react. I'm going to see how I can do this. I'm going to try doing a time-lapse thing here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start here, because this is where I tore it, so I know it's all a good edge all the way around. And then I'm going to get into here where it was shot, and I'll just trim that edge just enough to clean it up and get rid of any blood clots or any hard spots or really jagged edges. And then I'll start sewing again from there over. I'll touch this one up here while I'm here. What I use to keep the hair in is I just kind of just run my fingers there. There's a little bit of grease in the hair, so to hold it. And then just start sewing it that way. I'll see if I can set up the tripod there and show you how I get started. And once I get started, then I'll put it in time lapse, and we'll see what the progress, and hopefully it doesn't take too much time and you guys lose interest. But this is what I do when I sew. So I got here, you can see where the rough edge is, so I know this is all good here. So I'll sew that first, like I just said. That'll be good. Flip her over. Small holes like this again, that's just a little scar. Might throw one stitch there just to keep it shut, but this one will take a couple stitches. Okay, see you in a bit. So here is what I use. It's kind of a casing thing from a butcher. It's artificial sinew. So I get a nice long chunk like this, and I'll cut it. Then with that, it's going to be hard for me to do with gloves on, but you can kind of squish out the end, because this is fairly thick. It's going to be hard to sew with just this. So you can squish out the end. I'm not sure if you can see this. And just get one string, and then you can pull that open. So also with this smaller string, and then here's the bigger one, I can probably get another 2 or 3 of these with it, and then just wrap it up, and I'll use those later. For my sewing needle, I just have a little bit of a J hook, and just start in one spot there, and then sew through. It's a baseball stitch. It's from, I always go from the fur side out to the leather side, and we'll take a look at that in a minute when I get started here. Okay, well, we'll do the small hole first. Just stuff it in there. This is actually where the bullet went in, right here. I fleshed all the way around this. It's pretty clean. And just a little bit of a bump there, but I'm not too worried about that. And these edges here, I scraped them off pretty good. I think that'll be fine. So I just go from the fur side up. When I start sewing the longer piece, I'll use the longer string I made, but the small one, I'll just use it up on here. So I just make I'm not even sure what they're called, kind of knots, just kind of cross it over and feed it through a couple times. Take the bigger tail off. Hopefully this you guys can see. And then I just close it up like it would be all put together, so it's a bit of a horseshoe. So I go underneath the fur just close to the leather, not to grab any under fur, and then pull it up. And then go over about 1/8 of an inch. And always, it's a baseball stitch like I've mentioned in other videos. It's underneath, across, and try and keep it even. Same distance across, so you don't get too much pulling and causing oblong shapes. If you're sewing the longer one and you find one side's a little bit longer than the other, like it's gonna end up where there's a bump, you can start taking a little bit bigger stitches on that one side to shorten it up, kind of pull it across to the stitch, if that makes sense. And that way when you get to the end, you won't have a big pucker or an odd shape. And it blends in pretty good on the other side. You don't see too much. So right now you can see that stitch is nice and flat and sealed up. I'm going to put one more stitch here and then come back and tie it off. So there, my hole's all sewn shut. I kind of level it out a little bit with my thumb, just so I know I don't have it pulled too tight. And then to finish it, I kind of go back through the same hole, pull it through, take the loose end, the one that's not attached to the needle, go around 3 times, pull it through there. Then when I pull that tight, that seals it. And then I'll go underneath in that stitch, underneath one more time, around 3 times. And then pull that. That just locks that knot in there, and it's not a big knot, it's flat. Pull it and then just trim it. So it's nice and sealed up. Now I'll change this out for the longer one end is going to be a little bit smoother, the one that isn't the side that you pulled from or separated from the other one. So it'll go through your eye of your needle a little bit better. So I pull it up a little bit. Just like the other end, I go through 3 times. Pull that tight. And then I'll do another one just to lock it in. This one I just go through 2 times. If you only do once with this string, it'll relax itself a bit, and then you could end up having it come off your needle. I don't worry about trimming this off because it gives me something to hang on to later. When your string is long, it's going to want to catch on everything, so you want to keep everything kind of clear. And then, like I said, I'm going to sew from here to here. Start underneath again. And with a longer string, sometimes you'll grab some of that underfur and pull it through the hole. And if you just take your string and pull it back just before your next stitch or whatever, or you tie your knot, it's going to pull that through, and then you won't have it sticking out on your leather side. Dental floss is, some people use that, and it's a little bit different to deal with. It's smoother, I find, so it doesn't bite the leather as good when you're doing certain things, but to each their own. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of lay that out again. Look, yeah, looks good. And start my stitch job. See here, I got a little bit of fur. Just pull that back, and then it's more or less out. And then she's just back and forth from the first side to the other side. And I'm going into the leather about a 1/16, just enough so when it dries it's not going to pull through, and that I got good leather. Okay, I'm going to put it in slow motion video, time lapse I mean. So we'll get here and then I'll show you another part. So here we got the little one sewed up, just a bullet hole I'm not worried about. And then we got this big tear sewed up there. A little bit of hair when I first started, but the rest of it looks pretty good. So you can see it's underneath and then comes up, pulls it together, and then once it dries that levels right out. So now here's another big piece of the puzzle. So this is where it was shot. So it's a jagged edge. And then I tore it on the other side. So what I might do here, just see how this lines up, and then sew this to where I get the bullet hole, and then all the main damage will be on the side, which might not be as noticeable. You just try and blend it in so they, when they go to grade it, they're gonna see sometimes the odd little imperfection, but I don't think they're gonna pick up on if 4 hairs are over a little bit kind of thing. Here I have it all cleared up. So I like sewing from right to left. Just, it's easier for me. So I'll start on the right and work my way over. This is what I trimmed off. Not very much, just like I said, just enough to clean up the edges. And then any jagged points or anything like that, just cleaned it off so when I sew it up, it blends in. As I'm going, I'll look and see how, keep checking to see how I line up, and then I'll make adjustments, either take a bit bigger stitch here and pull a little bit back, or vice versa. So here, I'm probably into this coyote for a little over half an hour just on the sewing part and fleshing. So this other piece here will probably take me another 20 minutes or so. I'll actually time it and see. But yeah, so I'm going to start here, work my way across, and finish up. And then you'll see another clip of it after it's all sewed up, and then I'll put it on the board, and we'll turn it tomorrow and see what it looks like. Actually, I'll wash it too, just because there's a bit of blood in here. So you can either spot wash it or put it in a washer. So I'll show you how I do that. And I'll wash that one and this coyote up here together. That way saves on time. So finished her up. So this is the tear. We'll roll it over. That's an old scar that opened up. As you can see, it goes just about all the way around. So here's the start, and there's the finish. So yeah, about 5-6 inches of good leather in between. I don't think it'll be too bad. I'll turn it out, fur out, wash it, and I'll show you my wash machine, how I have that set up, and skin the other one and get them on the board, and we'll show you. Here we have the washing machine. All I use is a little bit of Tide, just a splash. Got it plumbed in here to my house garage. So I just put it on the rinse. Have the coyotes in there. So I'll give it a little splash. Just enough there to help break any grease. Smells good. It's cold water. That's all I have plumbed into it, so I don't have to worry about ever having that. And if I leave the lid up, it'll fill up and then stop. Have it set there. I could probably turn it down a little bit. I had that wolf in there before. I'll fill this up. I'll go skin that other one. I'll come back because this one had some blood clots in it. So the water will help dissolve that. And then I'll give it a little squishy and then close the lid and it'll be good to go. We'll see you once we go to put everything on the board here. Here's the other coyote. So exit hole. a little bit of a tear when I fleshed it, but I'll have to trim all this up and fix it up. But when you buy coyotes that are shot, and there's a big exit hole, you gotta pay a little less because it's gonna be more work and you don't know what you're getting into. Might look decent, but then as soon as you skin it, you end up with something like this. So you gotta base your prices accordingly. All right. So we'll skin or sew this guy up and then go from there. I guess one more thing, when you're trimming this up, just take your razor blade and just barely nick the skin, and then kind of keep working it and pull the skin so it tears a bit, because you don't want to cut the under fur, because that'll actually show up on the other side. If you let it naturally tear or something like that, you're going to leave as much hair as you can on the bigger piece of hide, and the trimmings that can just go in the garbage. But you want to just take it nice and slow, just barely work your way through it, and then I pull it just so it pops off, and I'm not cutting the roots of the other hair that's going to stay on the hide. Okay, get over this stitch job there. Looks good. I'll touch this one up here. Just wanted to show you the big one. Lined up not bad. A little bit of a pucker there, but that'll stretch out. And that one I'll just throw one stitch in to hold it. But that thing is at least 13 inches long. Okay. So it's the day after. The leather's all dry. Just getting ready to turn it. So just a quick look there. Looks good. Didn't open up. It opened up a little bit there in my last stitch, but nothing to really worry about. So that's the one there. I'll turn that one here. And this is the other one here where, so that hole, so this all the way across, and then sewed that there. So in this one here, there was a little chunk of blood, and then when I was flushing it, I caught it there. So that's why that hole's there. It's still not quite dry, but that'll be fine. Everything else is good. A few scars in the back here from territory and breeding and whatnot. Those are some fresh bite marks. These are healed up a little bit. We'll turn it and I'll brush out the other side and we'll see what it looks like. So here I turned the coyote, so not a bad looking coyote. Belly's a little off, but I brushed it out, but I went and felt underneath. So this is the top of the stitch, and that other one goes to the bottom of the stitch, and I'll just brush it out like in between. I'll brush it out so you can see that it'd be hard pressed to find it. Right here, it's because it's the armpit and just the way that dried, but it's can't tell unless you know what you're looking for or feeling it. All the fur lays down. No evidence of that seam. So I'll do the same to this one here. This one you might be able to see just because it goes across the back and was a longer stitch. But this one, that vertical one, along the belly, can't even tell. The fur is a little bit damp still, just because I washed it. But if it was dry and I fluffed it up and snapped it a bit, you won't be able to tell. Okay, we'll do this one here. So I just turned this coyote over. I didn't brush it yet. I was just feeling for where the stitching was underneath. So it starts here somewhere. Kind of lose it where it opens up. Then it goes around to the side. And and then into the back here somewhere. So I'll brush it out. And this one is fairly mangy there. Had some kind of red by its chin, so I trimmed that up as best I could. A little bit here in the armpits. Then on the stomach side, so I cut that up quite far, but just got rid of some of that ugliness there. And again, this fur's still a little bit damp. It'll look better and fluff up better once it dries. But you can see here, let's see if I can find. Oh, here it is. So it starts in here somewhere, goes across onto the side. So I'll brush that out again, just so you can see that you can't. Doesn't matter how you brush it, doesn't stand out like there's a. Get back over your camera. Doesn't stand out that there's anything really going on there. And this is the back side. So brush some of that out. And, should have had this on the tripod, but you get what you get. So here, let's see if I can find it. Might, yeah, right there. So it comes across here, just a little bit of a bump there. I can feel where I stopped one stitch and started the other, and then it goes up here. So when I brush it out again, and like I said, once we snap it, you won't be able to tell. So there, that's something some people might have thrown out. I was able to salvage and maybe make a little bit of money on it. Even if they did see it, it would downgrade a little bit, but it's better than not doing anything with it. I don't like throwing fur out. I know if it's got shoulder mites or bad mange and really leathery, then it's no good. This one, it's yeah, I don't even know if I'd really, it doesn't look bad in the video, but in person it looks quite a bit worse. But I had to do some work there, big bullet hole. Didn't think the chin would come out that well, but it's better than nothing, and just took a chance there, I guess. So yeah, in here somewhere is that stitch job, but looks good now. Like I said, once you snap it out and it's all dry, it'll look a lot better. But maybe a $10, $15 coyote now, but I put quite a bit of time into it for sewing and then fleshing around the wound and all that. There we go. We'll see what we get. Auction's coming up here in the next couple days, so we'll see what our averages were. And I'm gonna watch it tomorrow, hopefully towards the end of the day. And then we'll get these guys into the next one. This one's not too bad. Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends. If you have any questions or comments, share it, and we'll do what we can. Yeah, that's it. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.